Welcome back, Night Dweller. I'm your host, Mothy. It started with a discovery. Gems that shimmered like starlight on a distant world. Then came the unease, the silence, the cracks. Now the city is unraveling. The streets aren't safe, and something ancient is crawling its way to the surface. The moment where survival isn't guaranteed. You're listening to They Hatched Among Us, Part 4.
Tune in close, dim the light, simple dark tales late at night.
Theo crouched beside the dark stain, his fingers hovering over it without touching. "It's fresh," he said, his voice barely above a breath. "Whatever happened here, it wasn't long ago." Dalton exhaled, steadying himself before he grabbed the door handle. He hesitated, listening. The facility hummed with a mechanical whine, distant clanks of shifting machinery echoing through the walls. But beneath that, deeper in the building, something else moved, slow and deliberate. A faint chittering noise returned, an unmistakable sign that they were not alone. Lucy swallowed fear, clawing at her throat. "We go in quiet, get what we need, and get out." Dalton nodded. "No unnecessary risks. Stay close." With a final glance at each other, he pushed the door open, and they stepped inside the darkened facility. The air inside was thick, humid, and reeked of rust and something putrid. Something unmistakably organic. Overhead, the emergency lights flickered, casting the industrial space in erratic bursts of pale green light. Shadows stretched unnaturally along the damp concrete floor, the walls slick with condensation. Lucy swallowed hard, her eyes darting around the facility. Large steel pipes ran along the ceiling, hissing softly with escaping steam. Pools of murky water collected in uneven depressions on the floor, rippling slightly as if disturbed by something unseen. The sound of buzzing flies intensified as they stepped further inside. Then she saw it. A body, or what was left of one, slumped against the base of a workstation, its uniform stained dark with something thick and gelatinous. The chest cavity had been torn open, ribs cracked outward, as if something had burst from within. The skin around the wound was blistered, the tissue raw and melting like wax, as though it had been eaten away by some corrosive substance. The worker's face was frozen in a soundless scream, their glassy eyes staring into nothing. Lucy clamped a hand over her mouth, bile rising in her throat. Theo exhaled slowly, his voice tight. "They nest in the bodies." Dalton crouched, his piercing blue eyes scanning the remains with grimace. He nudged a piece of shredded uniform aside with his knife, revealing what looked like thin, translucent tendrils buried into the corpse's exposed flesh. The tendrils twitched, curling slightly, before going still. "They don't just kill," he said. "They use them." Lucy squeezed her eyes shut for a second, forcing the nausea down before opening them again. "We need to move. Now." Dalton stood and nodded, motioning them forward. They moved cautiously, stepping around the pools of blood and biological debris. A severed arm, half submerged in one of the puddles, twitched, the nerves still firing long after death. They reached a rusted stairwell that led towards the central filtration room, where the bulk salt storage was kept. The faint sound of dripping water echoed above them, but something else, something wet and skittering, lurked in the distance. Dalton tightened his grip on his knife. "No unnecessary risks. We get the salt, we get out. But the moment Lucy placed her foot on the first step, a sharp clicking noise erupted from above. A slow, deliberate clicking echoed through the steel stairwell, the sound bouncing off the rusted pipes, the metal grating. It wasn't a random noise. It was rhythmic, intentional. Hunting. Dalton held up a fist, signaling to the others to stop. Lucy froze, her breath coming in shallow, measured gasps as her hazel eyes flicked upward. The emergency lights above flickered again, casting jittery shadows across the upper platform. Then a shape moved. A glistening, segmented limb emerged from the darkness above, curling over the railing with an unnatural slowness. The glow of its bioluminescent skin pulsed as it shifted, and then another limb joined the first. The creature's elongated head tilted downward, its bulbous, multifaceted eyes reflecting the dim light. It had been waiting for them. Theo barely suppressed a curse under his breath. It knows we're here. Dalton's grip tightened around his knife. We need to move, now. Lucy's fingers curled around the strap of her bag, her heart hammering against her ribs. If we run, it'll chase. The creature clicked again, its mandibles parting slightly, releasing a faint, acidic scent that burned their nostrils. It smelled thick, oily, like biofuel mixed with rot. Rows of needle-like teeth glistened, slick with something dark and viscous. The sight sent a shiver down Lucy's spine. Then, in a sudden explosion of movement, the creature lunged. Dalton reacted instantly, shoving Lucy and Theo backward as he swung his knife up in a defensive arc. The blade barely grazed the creature's hide before it twisted, its many legs skittering across the metal grating with terrifying speed. Its mandibles snapped dangerously close to Dalton's shoulder, the air thick with the scent of rot and acid. Move, Dalton barked, his voice sharp with urgency. Lucy didn't hesitate. She bolted down the stairwell, Theo right behind her. The creature shrieked as its body pulsed, and it leapt from the upper platform, landing with a sickening crunch that sent vibrations through the rusted stairs. Dalton took the brief opening and sprinted after them, gripping the rail to keep his footing as the stairs trembled beneath the monster's weight. They hit the lower level hard, stumbling onto the wide industrial corridor lined with pipes and large storage tanks. Overhead, lights flickered weakly, casting jagged shadows that seemed to move on their own. "Where's the salt?" Theo panted, scanning the room frantically. "Filtration room, straight ahead." Lucy pointed to a rusted door at the far end of the hall. Behind them, the creature screeched again, its limbs scraping violently against the walls as it tore after them. Dalton reached the door first and threw his shoulder against it. It groaned but didn't budge. "It's jammed." Theo swore and grabbed a nearby metal pipe. "Stand back." With a powerful swing, he slammed the pipe against the rusted lock. The impact echoed through the corridor. Another hit, and the metal crunched inward. A final strike, and the lock shattered, sending the door flying open. They scrambled inside, nearly tripping over one another. Dalton turned and slammed the door shut, just as the creature lunged, its needle-like limbs slashing at the space where they had been moments before. The impact shook the door, denting the metal outward. Lucy gasped, backing up until she hit one of the massive salt storage tanks. The room was lined with them, towering industrial silos filled with pure salt for the purification process. Thick pipes fed from them, running along the ceiling like arteries. Theo's eyes widened. This is it. We have what we need. His gaze flicked upward toward the air vents, where the creature's scent clung thick. He swallowed hard. And I think I know how we can end this. Dalton braced against the door as another blow from the creature sent a screeching dent through the metal. Then we need to make it count. That concludes today's episode. Join us next week for another spine-tingling tale here on Simple Dark Stories. If you enjoyed this and would like to help out, please give us 5 stars and let us know what haunts your dreams. Until next time, bye-bye.